Good morning, everyone. It's Karen Whooley, and welcome to episode 15 of Coffee and Crochet with Karen. I'm Karen Whooley, your host, and it is a snow edition. It's not snowing anymore, but if you look out my window, there's snow on the ground. It's been icy. It's starting to melt finally, but it still feels like a winter wonderland out there. I'm not sure how much snow we got. I think it's been about 3 or 4 inches. But it's enough that last week we had pretty much been told not to leave our houses unless we absolutely had to. Sunday, my husband decided he was going to go to church. I go on Saturdays due to a hearing issue I have. And so he was going Sunday, and he got not even a mile from our house and slid all over the road that had been plowed. So it had ice all over it, and he just turned around, came home, and watched Mass on the computer. So it was crazy. I can actually finally get out today if I want to, so I'm excited about that. But having snow meant that I got a lot of crochet stuff done. I got a lot of stuff behind the scenes done. I had a whole lot of things going on in the world of Karen Whooley Designs. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to show you my projects. Okay, so you all know that I've been working on cross stitch project, and it is not complete for this week, so I didn't want to bring it upstairs because I would have to take everything apart to show it to you, and it's set up the way I need it right now. So next week, hopefully, I will have it in a position that I can show you. But I had the 4th square. I should finish it tonight. Unfortunately, it's not going to be done for this video, but it's really coming together really nicely, and it's really helping me decompress from Monday. I guess is really Mondays are hard. Are you guys kind of like that too, where you have a nice weekend, you do, well, I didn't do a whole lot other than crocheting this weekend, but you do a bunch of stuff and you relaxed and all that, and then Monday hits and you've got all these things to do and you still need something to decompress from that. And Tuesdays and on, I'm fine, but Mondays are weird. So every Monday, before I even get up, it hits my inbox, the new cross stitch. And so I print it out first thing in the morning. I put it aside. When I go downstairs, I bring it with me and I start working on it after dinner when my husband and I are either watching TV or he's reading and I'm doing, usually it's crochet, but it's cross stitch right now. So I will show you that next week, I promise. I promise. Okay. So the other thing I'm really excited about, and a lot of you have been waiting for this, and I'm going to pull it over in here. I just have to show this bag really quick too. This is a bucket tote that I got probably in the late 2000s, before 2010 for sure. This is from Erin Lane Bags, and it's her crochet bag, and you can tell it's all faded. I love this bag because it's just got all the things that are traditional in crochet. So I had to show the bag because it's pretty fun. I don't believe she has it right now. Every time I share it, she always asks us to share our favorite bags, and I always share it, and she always says maybe I'll bring that back, but I haven't seen her bring it back yet. So keep an eye on her website. It's Erin Lane, ErinLane. I think it's ErinLane.com. It might be ErinLaneBags.com. Can't remember. I'll put it in the show notes. But in this bag, this is kind of what I use for my bigger projects. And so I'm going to pull a couple things out here first before I show you. There we go. Okay, so I've got all this thread. Okay, so you guys have seen this. This is the back of my cardigan. I'm so excited. This is done. You guys have seen that. But because I couldn't leave my house, Saturday and Sunday, each day, I finished one of the fronts. So here's one of the fronts. I can't tell you right now off the top of my head, which this I think is the right front. There's still some yarns attached. So here's the first front. Here's the second front. I don't know if this is the right direction, but there they are. So they are ready to go onto the blocking board. I still have to finish up the pattern, and then hopefully after I finish my cross stitch tonight, I will start working on the first sleeve. So that sweater from Forbidden Fibers, I think I still have one that's not wound yet. Yeah. Forbidden Fibers yarn, Forbidden FiberCo yarn. It's her Fortitude base, which is 100% superwash merino. No nylon in this. It's so soft. It's so pretty. And when you block it, I've used this base for other things, and it is so soft when you wet it and block it and all that stuff. And this is her pomegranate colorway. Each hank is 475 yards, 4 ounces. So she has a little bit bigger hanks. 475 yards, and it's fingering weight. But look at the tonal in there. You can see the black overtones. I just love this colorway. And even in the crocheted pieces, you can see the black overtones in there. I cannot wait to put this together. So that is what I've been working on crochet-wise, other than a couple other things that I have been doing behind the scenes that I can't talk about quite yet. But I am going to show you what's new in the studio, because I have gotten a couple things that are new in the studio. Okay, so the first thing, a lot of you know that I am an affiliate for Twice Sheared Sheep. I love her stuff, and I've ordered some things from her. I have 2 orders, one that I got, and one part of that order I can't show you yet because I had to order a second part that I didn't realize I had to order. So that first part I'm not going to show you, but the second part I'm going to show you. And I was really excited. This just released on the 15th of January. Now, whether you're a crocheter or knitter, I know you've all had patterns where the pattern says work until X number of inches. So it could be a sock where it says work the leg until it's 3 inches from the cuff, or 5 inches from the cuff, or whatever it is. Or if it's a sleeve, work until it's 4 inches and then you're going to start your decreases, whatever it is. Well, she has now a work until measuring tape. This is so cool. So the top of this has a little loop, and it literally allows you to, whether you're a knitter or crocheter, to put it on. So I'm going to use my hook here. You can put on your hook, and let's pretend I've got fabric here. It will hit. You can make sure that this top part hits wherever the fabric is. This is going to naturally be 1 inch from the top of the hook to here. And then you can adjust this by using this little buckle, and you put the top of the buckle at like I put it here at the 5 inch mark. It's a little bit below, but it's at the 5 inch mark. So as a crocheter, I can pick up my work, put this on the hook, put the work on the hook, and see how much farther I have to go without sitting there taking my hook out and laying it flat. I can do it from the crochet point. As a knitter, you can just leave it in between stitches on your needle and just pass it back and forth, and you can constantly be checking, or you can add it to your needle after you've done so many rows and you want to see where you're at. But she recommends putting it on your needle. But I think this is fabulous. I'm working on a knit sock that needs to go to 5 inches, and I'm going to be using that later. I didn't bring my sock to show you. I'm so sorry. I did do a little bit, but it's not enough for you guys to see anything. But this is amazing. So literally I can adjust. And this goes to 12 inches. It says 13 on the back, but when I pull it all the way down, 12 inches is the most. But I was thinking that this is such an amazing idea that if you can find a plastic buckle like this, you can put it on your measuring tape and add some sort of hook at the top of your measuring tape. You could do longer pieces. So for example, you could make your own and do a 16 inch or a 30 inch. And I don't know, she may be coming out with longer ones. I don't know, but this is an amazing piece. So I will have a link in the show notes to purchase this. I think it was like $10. It might have been $7. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a really great little tool. I did do it on a couple crochet, or actually on that sweater that I just showed you. So And it works great because I was able to measure it, you know, while I was crocheting. And then later I said, you know what, I'm going to check it. And I put it down and sure enough, it matched. So that's a really great little tool. So, okay, so that's the first thing. Now the second thing is that I have been contacting some of the yarn companies I've used in the past. There's a few of them I let drop. And for those of you who don't know, I had cancer in 2021. 2022 was horrible, brain fog, not feeling well, could crochet, but I just couldn't even think about the concept of taking new to me yarns and trying to come up with ideas. It was more of projects that were on the schedule, even though I had the yarn for them or I knew what yarns I wanted, I could order those. Most of them were hand dyers. But one of the companies I used to work with before I got cancer was Skacel. And Skacel, if you don't know them, they are the Zauberball people. They are the haiku people. I love the haiku line from Skacel. They are based here in Washington. And when I lived on the west side of the state, I used to teach at their shop, which is called Maker's Mercantile. The shop itself has now closed. The actual storefront has closed, but they do still have their online store. So you can go to makersmercantile.com and that is their store. And I know they sell other things besides, I don't know if they sell yarns other than the Skacel lines of yarns, but they know they sell like buttons and other stuff. So, and if you're local to the west side of Washington and are close enough, you can actually order things and pick up at the store and save on shipping. So that's just a little plug for Skacel. I've been working with Skacel for years. I mean, I started working with Skacel when back in the early 2000s, they used to have a wholesale show in Tukwila, which is just south of Seattle. And in a, what's the name of that hotel? The Suites. I can't think of the Suites. But it's the one that they have like an atrium in the middle and all of the hotel rooms are around it. Embassy Suites. Gosh, I couldn't think of the word. They used to do it in the Embassy Suites in Tukwila. And the way it worked was if you were a designer or a yarn seller or a bookseller or anything to do with the fiber arts, as far as knitting and crocheting was concerned, you could register and have a booth in one of those rooms. You would have, you know, you would sleep in the bedroom, but the front area, if you've ever been in an Embassy Suites, is like a little living room type thing. And you set up your store in that room. And you can, like for me, I sold my patterns and books wholesale to shops all over Washington. A lot of people came up from Oregon. And then they had a fashion show and you could put some of your samples in the fashion show so that shops could see your samples on a live person and then they'd come and buy, you know, wholesale from me. And I did that. Oh gosh, I don't even remember. My son was probably 10 or 11 and he came with me. He was my cashier so I could talk to other people. And so he learned a lot about the business of crochet and what I did just by being in that booth with me and understanding, you know, what retail was and that kind of thing too. But, well, it was wholesale at that point, but I mean, you're running a register and all that kind of stuff. So I've been working with Skacel for a long time and Tyler is now 27. So that tells you how long I was working with Skacel. I got to know Rob, who's their vice president or president now, I guess, of operations and stuff like that. And so I shot him an email last week and told him what I'm back, and I got on his site and I've seen a couple of yarns that I really liked, and if they were still willing to send me some samples to swatch with. And the reason I saw these yarns was because I had gone to my yarn shop the week before, and ordered some yarn that is actually Skacel yarn for a sweater for me that I'll show you as soon as I get it. It just came in. I just got an email yesterday about it, so I am going to be getting it later this week, going to get out that way. But she showed me another yarn that I'm going to show you in just a second, that as soon as I saw it, and Samantha in Florida, if you are watching this, this is for you. So my Floridians always tell me that they want garments, but they want lightweight garments. They want things made out of cottons and bamboos and things that they can wear on a chilly day. But you know, Florida does not get as chilly as Washington does. So she showed me this yarn, and I'm going to show it to you in a second. But look at this bag of yarn that I got. These are all just one-off skeins of yarn or hanks of yarn. That I asked them to send me, and they actually let me pick the colors. A lot of companies don't do that, but they let me pick the colors I wanted, and I told them, you know, if something is going to be discontinued soon, to let me know, and we'll pick another color, you know, that kind of thing. So the one that I saw, and many of you may have seen this already. Now remember, Skacel, I told you, has Zauberball, and they have Haiku, and then they have their Skacel Yarns. They have, you know, they carry different brands. This is their Haiku, and it's actually, they make the yarn, they pick it out. But this one is called Twisp. It's made in Peru, distributed by Skacel. It's Haiku, and this is 70% Pima cotton, 20% bamboo viscose, and 10% hemp. And it is so soft, so light. And it is a fingering weight yarn. It's got this, I don't know if you guys can see the twist on it. It's got a little bit of a pronounced twist, but it's really tight, but it's so soft. And so Samantha, when I saw this yarn at the shop, I said, I have to design a lightweight cardigan in this yarn. So, this, I've already got an idea in mind. I decided to use a very neutral color for this because it's going to have some lace, of course. And this is called Beechwood, I think. Yeah, Beechwood. So this is Twisp by Haiku. And it is so soft. So this is the first one. That's the one that started it all. Okay, so then I asked them to send me some others because these are all new to me. I mean, most of these were not in their lineup in 2020 that I remember. So the second one I asked them is a sock yarn, but this would also be wonderful for shawls and garments and stuff. It's Haiku again, and it's Madrona. And Madrona is a name that if you live in the state of Washington, you'll know. There used to be an event called Madrona that a lot of knitters and weavers would come to. That has since changed to Red Alder Fiber Arts. It's usually every February in Tacoma, Washington. In fact, I think there's one this year. I'm not going, obviously, this year. But Madrona is a name of an area in the Seattle area. So, but this is a sock yarn. It's 30% baby bamboo. I mean, sorry, not baby bamboo, baby alpaca. Sorry, bamboo. I'm so excited about bamboo. I love the Sheen bamboo gifts. But this is 30% alpaca, baby alpaca, 30% merino wool, 20% bamboo, again, bamboo viscose, and 20% nylon. They recommend socks, and in fact, the picture on their website shows this done up in socks. This is their sockeye salmon colorway. All of the colorways for this are very Pacific Northwest named. So like sockeye salmon is something that we know here in the Pacific Northwest. But it is so soft, and there's a lot of yardage on this. It's a 100-gram ball. It's got 402 yards, which is a lot of yardage when you think about how heavy alpaca can be. And the price point is around, I think it was like $28. It might be $32 on this one, but they're all tonals. And I don't know if you guys can see the tonality in this. I mean, where it goes a little darker and a little lighter, but it's so pretty. And I was thinking this color would make a beautiful sweater. I'm not sure if it would be a pullover or a cardigan, but I'm going to be swatching and seeing what this will do. But this is one I was really excited to get, and I'm more excited now that I saw it. Okay, then you guys all know I love lace. That's just something, lace weight yarns. I know a lot of you think that's just tiny and I'll go blind, but you know, if you've done any of my lace weight patterns like Beachcomber from Coastal Crochet over here, or I have the pink sweater, and the name is escaping me right now, in Modern Italian Lace Crochet, which is also back here. That one. And then I have a bunch in Pineapple Passion, as well as I have a couple shawls in a Garden Shawls. They're all done in lace weight, but I always use a larger hook than most people do. So I'm not trying to do the filmy, you know, like the knitted shawls that are made of the filmy stuff, but I use texture stitches to make that lace weight yarn feel a little heavier and stitch wise and work up faster. So that's why I love lace weight. And they have a lace weight also from Haiku called Merino Lace Light. I picked this gray color. It's called Shade, it's 100% merino, and it is so soft and so tiny. I mean, this is lighter than some of the lace weights I've used in my patterns. I'm trying to find a strand that's, here we go. I don't know if you guys can see that on my thumb, how light it is. But it is luscious. This is, I can't remember, it's 100% merino, 100 grams, 1,400 yards, oh, meters, sorry. So convert that to yards, as that's more than 1,400 yards. These meters are always smaller than yards, or the other way around, but I can't remember. But usually the meters are always less than the yards. So it's more than 1,400 yards. This is so light, so soft. The color's gorgeous. I'm thinking about a couple shawl projects, but I'm also thinking about a couple sweater projects. So this is something that might be coming soon or next year sometime. But oh my gosh, even if you don't want to crochet with lace, this is one of those hanks that you should have in your stash just to touch, because it's so soft. That's one thing about lace weight yarns too, is that because the strands are so fine, they tend to be softer even than fingering, sometimes depending. And like this is 100% merino wool. It's non-superwash. So this would shrink if you put it in the washer and dryer or put hot water on it. But it's beautiful, and you could felt it. I mean, you could totally felt it. All right, so this one, I'd heard about this, but I'd never seen it. So I decided to order some, and I'm glad I did. This is their Pop Cycle by Haiku. Again, these are all Haiku yarns that I'm going to show you. It's 50% polyester from recycled bottles. So this is a renewable yarn, where they're using 50% of the pop bottle, or the recycled bottles, and then 50% bamboo, of course, because I love bamboo. It gives it a sheen. But look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? The color is just gorgeous. It's got like a cable twist to it. It's like a cable yarn, but it's a fingering weight. So it's not really a standard type of plied yarn. It's more of a cable, and it's fingering weight again. And this one, I told you what it's a 100 gram hank, 305 yards. It's considered a fingering, I would call it like a mid-range fingering, but this is, I mean, this color alone, I want a sweater in this so bad for myself that I might make it, whatever I design with this, if it works out, in a size for me so that I can wear it. But this is so light. And for those of you who live in Florida or any of those warm states where a wool sweater may not work for you, try this yarn. See if your yarn shop can get this for you, or order online. It's beautiful. They have some really gorgeous colors too. This color, I forgot to tell you, is bubbly. They call it bubbly. I love this color. It's a good color for me too. So stay tuned on that one. Okay. And then I have one last, and this one just, it's a DK weight. And you guys know that I'm not a huge DK weight person, but I do like DK weight for some things. And this yarn is still a Haiku yarn. It's called Riley. And Riley is actually the daughter of the owner of Skacel. And so I thought it was kind of cool that they named her the yarn after her, the base. So this is Haiku Riley. And this one is 50% baby alpaca, 25% mulberry silk and 25% linen. And this is the colorway Hydrangea. And it's a 100-gram hank, and it's got 274 yards, which is not bad, and for a DK weight. And look at that color. It's got a little tiny bit of halo from the linen. The linen kind of comes out a little bit. It's still super soft. That mulberry silk mixed with that baby alpaca is amazing. And I don't know if you can kind of see the sheen. I can kind of see where it shines. Very tonal colorway, but this hydrangea purple is just gorgeous. And so a lot of you have been asking for more accessories like scarves and hats and gloves and things like that. So that's what this one is going to be swatched for. This color could also be an amazing garment. Could also be an amazing DK weight shawl. So stay tuned on that as well. But these are the 5 hanks of yarn, or skeins of yarn, that I got from Skacel this week. I have to finish that sweater first. I'm going to put this all back in here. I have to finish that sweater first before I can start swatching any of these. But that leads me into the comments later. So we'll talk about that in the comments, what I was just thinking. But let's go ahead and talk about the topic of the week. Okay, so last week we talked about Magic Square, and I did a little video for you on how to start a Magic Square. Today I'm going to show you how to finish it. And I'm going to say this in the video too that I did, but this is not a 6-inch square. This is a 4-inch square. I miscalculated a little bit, but that's okay, because this is still just going to show you how to do it. In this video, I'm going to roll it right now. I'm going to show you how to finish it off, how to whip stitch the seam and finish it all off. So let's watch. Okay, now you can see I have finished my little magic square. I have not seamed it, and I left it this way because I wanted to show you a couple of things. So first of all, I'm going to unfold it, and you'll see, like we talked about, it's going to be a bag type of structure. And inside, I'm going to turn it inside out. Here is my starting tail. I did not weave it in. I did not work over it. I just put it inside. So I also want to show you that here's the stitch marker, which was where every round began. And you'll notice I finished off kind of halfway through one side. And that's because, first of all, remember we started at the corner, and this shifts. I'm right-handed, so it kept shifting to the right. If I was left-handed, it would have kept shifting to the left. But it doesn't fall in the right spot for me to be able to seam properly, because you want to start your seam here in the corner. So what you end up doing is you do about a half a row or so, or a half of one side, to get it to lay proper so you can seam this up from the corner. So I've left a tail, and before I talk about how to seam, I want to let you know that what I do when I'm seaming is I cut the yarn about 3 times the length of the seam. So this is a little bit more than 3 times. I have left a pretty long tail here, but you want at least 3 times that opening. So what I do, I leave the stitch marker there for right now, and I'm going to put my yarn on my tapestry needle, and then I'm going to sit here and adjust and make sure that that last stitch, in my case I'm right-handed, so it's going to be on my right side. If you're left-handed, you're going to do it on your left side, but you're going to massage this a little bit so that the last stitch, it's really dark blue so it's hard to see, but my thumb is on it. This is the fasten off knot. We're going to ignore that. So the last stitch, hopefully you can see that right here between my thumbs, is lined up with the next stitch. And because I did not join, they're going to be right. You're going to have to skip over the knot and then go to the next chain, which is right here. Okay, So when I do that, and then I go all the way up and just make sure 2 by 2, they're all lined up. And when I get to the other side, I make sure there's 2 chains that are right next to each other. This one actually has one on top, so you just kind of have to fudge with that when you get to the end. So the way I seam is I take this needle and I whip stitch, and I start right here, and I work in the 2 loops that are right next to each other because I want to keep the back loop thing going here when I'm whip stitching. So I'm going to put that in the first one. I'm going to open this up a little so you can see what I'm doing. So here's the one right next to the slip knot, and then you can see that's this guy right here where you can see the yarn stretching right here. Here's the next stitch, so I go to the inside and then I go through that one and I pull through, and you got to be careful that the tail doesn't catch the actual fabric. But once you've done that, you can easily whip stitch all the way up. So you just find the next stitch on your right or left, depending which hand you use, and then the next stitch on the other side. And I'm going to do a few of these. I'm going to put it down flat because it's easier not to catch things as I do that. You can see I caught it again right here at the tail. And there we go. So I go to the next stitch here and the next stitch here. I'm going to do a few, and then I'm going to show you how the seam no longer shows, or the seam shows the back loops and keeps everything kind of looking uniform. And sometimes with the darker colors, I have to pull things closer so I can see which loop I've actually worked into and which one I haven't. Once I get up to this lighter blue up here, I'll probably be able to see things better. But I'm going to keep stitching. Now this is where it gets interesting because I'm weaving with the dark color, and you can see that I have started in the light color here. So you're going to see this light color starting to show up here. But I wanted to get this closer because here's the opening, and I still need to seam all the way up here. But I wanted to show you where I have already seamed. You can see that I still have the back loop idea going on. It's just going to look different in this final seam rather than the single crochet. You're just going to be able to see the seam. So I'm going to do a few more. Now in the meantime, I'm going to take out the stitch marker, and I'm going to finish weaving in this end and closing up the seam, and then I will come back and show you how to weave in the ends. So as you can see, I finished sewing the seam in the whip stitch, and this is nice and closed up. If I put it down, you can see it's more of a square or a diamond here. And usually what I do is I will often just do the last one twice, just to make sure there's no hole there. And then to weave in the ends, normally what I would do is I would go down through the seam and come back. But that's going to be really, really visible here. So what in this case, because of the dark color, I am going to actually kind of put the tail in the center of the fabric and then come back out here where the darker color is. There we go. I'm going to put that in through there, and I don't want to pull that too tight because I can tighten up that corner, and that's not what I want. And you'll notice here at the other end there is a slip knot that kind of makes it a little pointy. That's okay. That will eventually work its way in, or you can sit there and fuss with it and stick it inside of the magic square, but that does happen. So now I'm over here on the edge, and then what I usually do is I go through the side of the two fabrics, and I just try to go under and over as much as I can. Go under 2 or 3 and split one. Go under 2 or 3 and split one, and then pull that through, making sure you don't pull the tail all the way through. Make sure you don't pinch up the corner. And then I do that again, going back the other direction. So I'm going to do that. Now, if I was using, like I said, if I was using a solid color and the colors were, you know, there wasn't any difference going through, I would do it through the center here so that it was in the center and not on the edge. But if you do it right, you really can't tell where I have woven in that end. And I'm going to cut this, and then I'm going to just maneuver it a little. And while I told you this was probably going to be a 6-inch square, I overemphasized that. It's probably more of a 4-inch square, but that's okay. I would just probably add another 5 or 6 stitches to get it to the 6-inch square. But here's the back side. This is, you can see right here where you worked on both sides of the chain. And then here is where you can see I did the whip stitch. So both sides are going to be different as far as the center seam is concerned. But it doesn't really take away from your square at all. If you wanted to, if you were making a pot holder, you could do like a chain 12 and attach it here to make a hanging loop. But since this is going to be a coaster, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. If you have any questions, you guys know where to find me. So just either leave me a comment below this video or go to my website and send me a note. So there's one more thing I want to talk about before we go on to comments, and that is the fact that I told you I was going to have a surprise or a new thing to tell you about this week, something new. And I just announced it to my newsletter. So if you are a newsletter subscriber and you know I record these on Tuesdays, today the watching it is Wednesday, and I'm going to be posting on social media. So I'm posting it here as well. I have just put out a call for sample crocheters. And I have talked about in a previous video about sample crocheters and what I expect and that kind of thing. But what I've done, and I'll put the link in the profile as well. I will put all the details. I'll put a link to where all the details are to sign up for my webinars. But what I've decided to do is do 2 webinars. One is going to be February 2nd at 9 a.m. Pacific, which I believe is noon. Let me make sure I've got the right times here because that just doesn't sound right to me right now. Hang on one second. Okay, so Friday, February 2nd, it is 9 a.m. Pacific time, which is 10 Mountain, 11 Central, 12 Eastern. Or you can join me Tuesday, February 6th at 3 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Central, or 6 p.m. Eastern. I've had 27 people so far sign up. Wow, okay, that was not expected. I just pulled up the spreadsheet that people's interests have gone into. I'm going to be hiring 3 to 4. I have one person who has been a stitcher for me in the past who is working for me right now. I'm going to add at least 3 to that, no more than 4. So what I've decided to do to help you understand what contract or sample crochet is do a webinar, and I'm going to explain what it is. I'm going to explain how I do it, what I expect of my sample crocheters, and then I'm going to talk about the application process. Because like I've mentioned in past videos, the application process allows me to actually see your work, and you're going to have to mail me your swatches and things like that. I'm going to send you stuff. So if you're interested, you can sign up for either one of those dates. So that is the news I have. And so now we can talk about comments. Okay, so last week I asked you guys to please vote one more time on those colors for that shawl. I'm going to pull those out. I forgot to do that earlier. Here we go, these colors. And, whether it should go that way or whether it should it go that way or should the blue be in the middle? And that was your choices, right? Well, 4 of you responded. And it's a tie, 2 and 2. So I'm gonna have to make the final vote. The jury's still out at this moment. That's the next project I need to work on after I finish the sweater. This is my next project for sure. I have to get this done. So you will see next week, hopefully, because I'm hoping to get the sleeves done this week. You will see at least the start, and I will tell you what the final vote, what the final order is going to be. I kind of have an idea, but I'm not 100% sure. So I might have to do some swatching and then figure it out. Okay, so let's do the comments. So let's see. So just me and crochet. Fran, thank you, Fran, for introducing yourself in your note there. She was one that wanted the blue in the middle, so she went pink, blue, gold. She likes that together, but she says either way it's going to look great. She says, I hope you feel better. Last week, if you didn't watch last week, I had a cold. This week, I feel so much better, but I'm still, my voice, I don't know if you noticed, my voice is going, and I have my tea today. Oh, I should show you this cup. My son gave this to me probably 2-3 years ago for Mother's Day, and it's a cup that says, Mama, all a mama needs is a coffee and her cubs. And then on the other side, it has their names, Tyler and Cassie. This is probably one of the best Mother's Day gifts I ever got from one of my kids. Both of my kids have given me some great gifts over the years, but this probably gets used more than anything else. I am a huge coffee cup. You can probably tell up there. Look at all the coffee cups. This one here with my name on it, I got in the 70s from my cousin when I was in her wedding in 1975. The one with the sheep, I got at a show in September. And the one here that says Crochet, Team Whooleygan is a cup that I used to sell online. If anybody wants a Team Whooleygan cup, I can set those up again because all of you guys know, or most of you guys know, that my followers call themselves Team Whooleygan. Just kind of, it's Whooley with the G-A-N at the end. And I used to have swag with all of that, and that's what the cup is there. So if you want a cup, let me know and I will set up the store again. But I use this every day with my tea because whenever I have a sore throat, I need tea and I put a little honey or something in it. And this has been my go-to cup because it's the perfect size. And hopefully I will get my voice back by next week. This is the lingering thing with all the dryness and the snow. That's what's happening. But everybody is asking me to feel better. So I do feel better. Thank you all for the well wishes and prayers. Okay, so Francis F. 527. Good morning, Francis. It's so good to have you always. You are, every single week you leave me a comment and I love that. She still thinks pink, blue, and yellow also. So that's the 2 votes for the pink, blue, yellow. I think. Yeah, pink, blue, and gold. And then she had posted something about jumpers or jerseys. And I said, are jerseys and jumpers the same thing? And so she said, yes, jerseys and jumpers are the same thing. And then she said, hopefully my sinuses clear up quickly, blah, blah, blah. And she was on her way to see her youngest daughter, or second youngest, and her husband, and a 9.5-month-old grandson, or grandchild. I don't remember if it was a boy or girl. I think it was a boy. Did we agree that we both have boys? I can't remember. But she said it's worth it to get the cuddles. And boy, as a nonna, I totally feel that. The cuddles are so important. She says she's got about 4 woolen jumpers for him. But as it's the height of summer, yes, she's in New Zealand, guys. I don't think he'll be wearing them for a while. And, oh yeah, if in the summer I would never get I make them like last year for his birthday. He's a June baby. On his first birthday, I made him a sweater that hopefully he's wearing now. And hopefully it fits. My daughter hasn't said anything, so I don't know for sure if it's fitting. But if it is, he should be wearing it. Then Debbie Piera 95 says pink, gold, blue. So here's the opposite, first of the opposite. And she told me, hope I feel better. And then the last one is from Yarn Witch. Thank you for pink, gold, and blue. So there's the 2 and 2. She tends to like heavy colors to be on the bottom though, but it just feels better to her. And I'm kind of that way too, but I'm I'm really struggling with putting the gold in the middle, but I'm really struggling with it not being on the edge. So next week, hopefully I will have an answer for you. But thank you to all 4 of you for responding to my comments. And that's pretty much it for this week. I want to make sure on my list. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this week. It was a little longer than most. I think all the Skacel Yarns got me all excited. I'll see you now next week. Hopefully I have a better voice next week. But in the meantime, have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. And God bless everyone. Talk to you next time. Bye now.